Close your eyes for just a moment, take a slow breath in, and let it out gently. Now, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you think about your day, before worry starts knocking on the door of your mind, I want you to pay attention to something. Something is already moving in your room right now. Not something scary, not something dangerous, something gentle, something invisible to the naked eye but absolutely real. Something that has been there since before you woke up, since before the sun rose, since before you even had the first thought of the morning. And if you learn to recognize it, if you learn to feel it, it will change the way you see your entire life. Science tells us something remarkable. The air around you is not empty. It is filled with particles, with energy, with waves of light and sound and electromagnetic fields. Every single second, billions of atoms are vibrating inside the walls of your room, inside the chair you're sitting on, inside your own body. Nothing is truly still. Nothing is truly silent at the molecular level, but that is just the beginning. There is something else moving too, something that science can measure in some ways but cannot fully explain. Something that mystics, philosophers, and people of deep faith have always known. It is called presence. And God whispered about it long before modern physics ever tried to describe it. Most people think of presence as something they have to create. They light a candle, they put on soft music, they sit down to pray or meditate and try to manufacture a feeling of peace. But real presence doesn't need to be created. It only needs to be recognized. Right now, in your room, there is a layer of reality that is already active, already alive, already operating. You didn't turn it on this morning. It was never turned off. It has been there in every room you have ever sat in every moment of your life, even the hardest ones. The quiet voice, the whisper, is simply calling your attention back to it. Think of it like this. Imagine you are sitting beside a river. The river has always been flowing. But if you are distracted, if your mind is loud, if your eyes are fixed on your worries, you will not hear the water. The moment you stop, the moment you get quiet, you suddenly realize, oh, it was flowing the whole time. I just wasn't listening. That is what God's whisper does. It does not bring something new into the room. It reminds you that what you needed was already there. Let's go a little deeper, because this is important to understand. Your nervous system has two primary modes. You probably already know them, even if you don't know the technical names. There is the mode of action, the fight or flight response, and there is the mode of rest and repair, sometimes called the parasympathetic state. When you are anxious, rushed, overwhelmed, your body is in the first mode. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tighten, your breathing becomes shallow, your mind races. But when you stop, when you genuinely, intentionally slow down, when you choose to be present in the room you are in, something biological shifts. Your heart rate begins to drop. Your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, start to decrease. Your brain waves move from a high-frequency beta state into a slower, more peaceful alpha state. In that alpha state, creativity opens up, clarity comes. Solutions appear that were invisible a moment before. This is not magic. This is biology. But here is the beautiful part. It is also spirituality. The two are not fighting each other. They are describing the same door from different sides. When you get still enough to notice what is already moving in the room, you are not just calming your nervous system. You are also opening yourself to receive. There is a famous passage in ancient sacred literature where a prophet is told that God will speak. The prophet waits. A great wind comes, powerful enough to break rocks apart, but God is not in the wind. Then an earthquake shakes the ground, but God is not in the earthquake. Then a fire burns bright and fierce, but God is not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice, a whisper. This is one of the oldest recorded teachings about how divine communication actually works. It does not usually come in dramatic explosions. It comes in the quiet. It moves through stillness. It speaks in the language of a gentle awareness, an inner knowing, a soft nudge that you almost miss if you are moving too fast. And here is the message that whisper is carrying for you today. Something is already moving in your favor. Something has already been set in motion that you cannot yet see. A door that appears closed is already beginning to turn on its hinges. A situation that looks frozen is already beginning to thaw. An answer you have been looking for is already making its way toward you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to panic. You don't have to exhaust yourself trying to make things happen through sheer willpower alone. You only have to pay attention. Let me give you something practical. because good teaching always connects to real life. Every morning, before you reach for your phone, before you get out of bed, take 60 seconds. Just 60. And in those 60 seconds, do one simple thing. Notice the temperature of the air in your room. Notice the quality of the light, whether it is warm or cool, bright or dim. Notice any sounds, the hum of a fan, the distant sound of traffic, birds outside, the refrigerator in the kitchen. Notice the feeling of your own heartbeat if you can find it. Notice your breath. You are not trying to achieve anything in those 60 seconds. You are simply making contact with what is already there. This practice, done consistently, trains your mind to live in the present. And when you live in the present, you stop missing the quiet movements of grace that are always operating around you. The whisper becomes clearer. The presence becomes more tangible. The sense that you are held, guided, and accompanied through life becomes less of an abstract belief and more of a lived daily experience. Your room is more than a physical space. It is a metaphor for the interior life you carry everywhere you go. It is the inner landscape of your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotional patterns, your relationship with yourself and with the divine. And in that inner room, something is always moving too. Your own growth is moving, even when it feels like you are standing still. The healing of old wounds is moving, even when the pain still feels fresh. The development of your character, your wisdom, your capacity for love and patience, all of it is moving forward, even in the seasons when you feel stuck. God doesn't pause the work just because you can't see it. A seed underground does not announce itself. It does not hold a press conference to let the world know it is germinating. It simply works, quietly in the dark, reaching toward light it cannot yet see. And then one day, without warning, a small green shoot breaks through the soil, and everyone around marvels as if something miraculous happened overnight. But it wasn't overnight, it was moving the whole time. Quietly, consistently, faithfully. That is what is happening in your life right now. That is the message carried in the whisper. You do not need to have everything figured out today. You do not need to have all your prayers answered by this evening. You do not need to understand every twist in the path that your life has taken. You do not need to see the entire road in order to take the next step. You only need to know this. Something is already moving. The same intelligence that designed the human eye and calibrated the orbit of every planet in this solar system, the same love that has accompanied every human being through every dark night in history, the same presence that breathed life into existence itself, that presence is not absent from your room today. It is here. It is active. It is attending to the details of your life with a care that goes far beyond what any human mind could orchestrate. And sometimes, in the quiet moments between the noise, it leans close and whispers, "Be still. Trust the process. Something is already moving. I've had this the whole time. The next time you feel anxious, the next time you feel forgotten, the next time the silence of an unanswered prayer starts to feel heavy, come back to this moment. Come back to your, notice the air. Notice the light. Notice your own heartbeat. And remember that beneath the surface of everything you can see, touch, and measure, a gentle and faithful movement is already underway. You are not waiting for something to start. It already started. You just needed to get quiet enough to hear the whisper.